Hello, everyone. I'm super excited to be here with my dear colleague, Ali Iseman. She's a certified relationship coach and a modern relationship expert. She's the founder of the global platform Passport to Pleasure, a portal to building the love life of your dreams, not somebody else's. And I'm Dr. Marie Thouin. I'm the author of What is Compersion? Understanding Positive Empathy in Consensually Non-Monogamous Relationships. Today we're going to talk about the erotic nature of compersion and how it intersects with jealousy. That's something that I do talk about a little bit in my book, which is right behind me. But today we're going to double click on that topic. I'm doing this, short kind of sub-research project to understand how do people alchemize jealousy into erotic compersion. So I just really thought Ali would be such a great person to talk, about this with because we have already done an interview about this in the past. So welcome, Ali. Thank you so much for joining me in this conversation.
Oh, it's absolutely my pleasure. You're one of my favorite people to talk about this topic with, just because we can go full on nerd central like, with it. I am so thrilled.
Nerd Central is my middle name.
Are we related? Wait.
Probably. So, yeah, tell me a little bit about what experiences you've had with eroticizing jealousy into erotic compersion, either, personal experiences or what you've witnessed out there. So you can kind of take that anywhere you want.
My goodness. Yeah, I think in 10 years of experience dating and relating non-monogamously now, but also, the 30 plus, well, maybe not 30, didn't start at birth necessarily, but 20 some years prior to that. Oh God, I have just let's rewind. So for
Mhm.
me, what I thought was jealousy growing up was actually erotic compersion because I never understood. I would think about, my boyfriends, when something would come up about their previous partner, or if I saw them kind of making eyes at somebody, whatever it was, like it was exciting. To me, it felt very good. And those are the two key differentials. It felt good and it was exciting. It was a turn on. Like I liked that. I always fantasized about, other people, even when I was trying to be monogamous. So I thought that's what jealousy was because everyone said that that's what you feel. You feel jealous when your partner is, maybe interested in somebody else, or if you hear about their exes or whatever. So I was like, I don't understand why people don't like jealousy. This feels awesome. Like this is
Yeah.
so great. And
Mhm.
then let's fast forward, and my first, I guess, formal primary partner in a non-monogamous dynamic was actually my first experience of actual jealousy, which key differential does not feel good. And when it's not in a secure environment, was not a turn on, was actively a turn off. However, I had known that, okay, that I've already experienced compersion at this point. I knew that difference, feels good, compersion, doesn't feel good, jealousy, erotic potential for both. So let's see if when I'm in a more secure dynamic, can I play with that erotic jealousy specifically, not just erotic compersion? And the answer has been yes, very much. And that's what's so yummy and juicy, and there's healing in it as well, for me at least, that safety and that security of getting to play with those, potentially uncomfortable or unsafe feelings. Not unsafe feelings, but things that feel unsafe to us, but really just uncomfortable. Like really getting to live out perceived risk in a safe way has just, oh my God, unlocked a level of intimacy and trust in those partnerships that I've just have never been able to access before. It's been the most incredible. It's enabled me to play even more into like power dynamics that I've always been curious about, and it's just like a key to another door and another door and another door. So it's not super succinct, but that's been sort of my journey with it, and I'm in this really yummy, wonderful place specifically with erotic jealousy right now, wherein one of my partners and I very intentionally choose to play with it, and we have very specific environments and people that we do that with, and everyone's informed and understands, and there's clear communication. It enables me to be super responsible for my experience, to
Mhm.
practice communicating those boundaries and those needs, and just learn so much more about myself and my receptivity in different environments. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, that's amazing. And there's just so much in everything you said I want to hear more about. But one of the things that was so interesting is you contrasted erotic jealousy with erotic compersion. So can you kind of make that distinction explicit? Like, what's
Yeah.
the difference between erotic jealousy and erotic compersion?
So the way I differentiate and how I feel it differently is eroticism, like that turn on feeling, can be shared in either experience. The difference for me is perhaps the quality of the emotional experience I'm having. So if, say, I'm watching two people I care about or multiple people I care about being together. One of my partners is involved, or two of my partners are involved, and I'm just getting to watch heaven. It's just this overwhelming gratitude, pleasure, positivity, joy, like really yummy, good, positive, comfortable, positive is the word I have for it, feelings, and a turn on. So
Yeah.
I'm feeling good, yummy, emotional experience, and I'm having an arousal process with my body. So the emotional and the physical. The
Mm-hmm.
jealousy experience, same physical arousal is happening, but the emotional experience is totally different. Very uncomfortable, whatever type of jealousy I'm dealing with. Am I in comparison? Is there an insecurity coming up? Maybe, fear of abandonment has been triggered, whatever else is going on. That is very alive for me in a safe container so
Mm-hmm.
that I can experience arousal from it. And in that process, I get to take care of that part of myself who's having that uncomfortable feeling. I get to speak to what I need. I get my needs met in that experience, however it's been negotiated, so that
Mm-hmm.
I'm learning that my nervous system is getting to experience very uncomfortable feelings in a very safe way.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
that's how I've differentiated it. The
Wow.
emotional part is the difference.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And you also use the word healing, like it can be so healing. And when
Hmm.
I hear the word healing, I also hear probably like the word transformative, like things can
Quite.
change when we heal. So can you tell me a little bit more about that? Like how can it be healing or how has it been healing in a particular scenario, if you're comfortable sharing
Yeah.
a
I
picture?
can
Yeah.
absolutely. There's a particular scenario I love sharing, actually, because it was so unexpected and it's been such a delightful gift that he's not giving, albeit uncomfortable at times. But it's the healing component is, I think, again, it's the ability to have that unpleasant, uncomfortable emotional experience that we're so used to either punishing ourselves for, being punished for, having it weaponized or weaponizing it in a
Mm-hmm.
way where anyone involved in this experience is on board and aware and like everything's been communicated. So it's again those this whole experience has been made clear. And I'll share an example which will hopefully shed some light if this sounds kind of a little obtuse or a little general. Um, and if it goes too far, I want to test a boundary. I want to see where this goes for myself. I know that on the other side, that I can stop it at any time. So
Mm-hmm.
it is a consensual experience I'm having. So that gives me a sense of empowerment. I'm empowered in this experience. No one is doing this to me or taking something from me. This is something I am creating. So it's giving me an empowered experience in something that is typically seen as a disempowering experience, which
Mm-hmm.
completely transformed my relationship with jealousy. It's why I understand jealousy doesn't stop, at least so far, has not stopped being uncomfortable or has become this like delightful experience. That's compersion. Jealousy does not feel good. It's not a pleasant emotional experience, but I now am able to parse through the information it's giving me. What is it that's being triggered? So that's my personal development, element
Mm-hmm.
of it. And then there's also the intimacy in the relationship that I'm exploring that with.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting to play in this territory that can feel sort of risky. And in that, we're building trust. You don't build trust by never acknowledging risk. It's like the idea of like, you don't build strength by avoiding going to the gym. You have to challenge your muscles. You have to break muscle tissue down. I'm not saying like actively put your relationship on the line, but loving someone is saying, hey, I value your position on me. I am giving you the power to hurt me, and I trust that you won't. And then I will allow you to keep proving that over time. There is no other option. You don't build trust by, putting up a bunch of walls and rules, and like, you assume the risk. That's
Mm,
how trust is built. And then the person shows you over and over and over again that they will honor those boundaries. Very
yeah,
different than a rule. So all
totally.
that, let's wrap
I
it into
just
a
want
real
to
lived
say, like,
experience if you want.
what you said about, like, like creating a scene with jealousy, but in a container with safety and with empowerment. Like that makes me want to write a whole thing about like empowered jealousy versus disempowered jealousy.
Exactly. I think that's the 100% the key. It's when
Yeah.
you're practicing something knowingly. Like it's think of it like reps. Why is every reference a gym reference?
Go to the
Like,
gym just before
that's all I've got. I'm just a gym rat. I'll work on that. I'll try and bring food in or something. But like you get stronger, right? The weight doesn't get lighter. You
Yeah.
get stronger. The weight actually gets
Yeah.
heavier. You learn how to deal with more and more intensity, and
Hmm.
it's effortful. But then you're capable of more and more and more. It's the same thing. You don't get better at handling any emotional experience by avoiding them. That's why I like to think of like non-monogamy or just open relating in general as like relationship exposure therapy. You're not like trying to sweep everything under this like set of rules. Like you acknowledge everything is a choice, and you're
Hmm.
willing to go on that risk adventure with someone or someone's.
Yes. Yes, exactly. It's all about, like being empowered around our
Yeah.
emotions and around the relationships we have with our
Yeah.
emotions.
And it empowers your partner too. Like, if I'm doing this experience with one of my partners or two of my partners or, a friend of ours or friends of ours, whatever the makeup is of this, it's strengthening my relationship with that person who's entering into this with me as well. Because I'm going, we are now it's not just the day to day I'm giving you the ability to hurt me. I'm saying, push my fucking buttons. Like I'm saying, do
Uh,
the thing I'm
yeah.
asking you to. They learn to trust me more because they trust that, they have to trust that I'm responsible for that. I'm not going to flip around and go, I can't believe you did it. You weren't supposed to actually do it or whatever else. I'm responsible for my experience. So if
Yeah.
you'll allow me, I'd love to share a specific experience where this really opened up for me,
Oh my
and
God.
it created the environment for one of my partners and to really continue exploring this. And it just is such an
Mhm.
incredible benefit.
So good.
Um, yes. So I will preface with, let me make sure I'm going to keep this as anonymous as possible. But the let me just tell the story and we'll do it that way. There's no need to preface. So, new a partner who I've now been with for over a year. This is
Mhm.
newer in our relationship. This is maybe 6 months in, not even, and we had started long distance, so we'd only been together in person for maybe 4 months or something like that. At this point, very very trusting, very loving, very very steady, secure relationship dynamic, but new.
Mhm.
And I'm much more experienced in the play party scene, non-monogamy, and all of that than this person is. And
Mhm.
we're aware of that, and we've talked about it. And we want to start going to events and making friends in this space. And he wants to experience more as well. And so, great. So we decide to go on, a friend of mine's organizing a beautiful, luxury super yacht play party takeover thing for a week, island hopping in one of the beautiful oceans over here in Europe.
Wow.
And we're like, yeah, let's do that. That sounds great. So that sounds
Why
like a
not?
good plan. Start with a high bar, right?
Mhm.
So we arrive, and pretty quickly I'm like, ooh, there's a cutie. I would like to see if she's also interested. What I specifically would like to see is the two of you play while I watch, if that is okay. Because I'm feeling so secure in the dynamic, and I'm communicating this to him. I feel very secure. Our level of communication, how we've handled things, like up till now, like I feel very good. We'll talk about parameters, specifics, like everything's negotiated and discussed, right? To make sure everyone's comfortable and open to that. So for me, the specific dynamic was, I want to watch you and her play. I want to be in the room while you guys are enjoying each other.
Mhm.
I didn't have the need to participate. I was like, if maybe, but right now all I know is that's what I want. I want to experience that.
Mhm.
So basically cut queening. And So we approached her. She was there with her male partner, and they were both on board. And so I wasn't interested in playing with her partner. So him and I were just going to watch them play. And I was like, great, this is fun. We'll like cuddle and popcorn. It'll be great. So we're having this lovely experience. It's happening. They look so freaking hot together. I'm like so turned on. Like this is like, yes, everything. Luckily, I'm wearing my vibrator necklace, so I'm enjoying myself. And things are proceeding and things are continuing. And at a certain point, well into the event, my partner, he doesn't know if it's, he's not used to having an audience or he's not used to having an intimate partner there watching. He's more used to, one-on-one or that sort of thing. He wasn't able to follow through with certain anatomical requirements.
Mhm.
And so, no shame, whatever, we're having a wonderful time. So we say, you know what, no worries. We'll give you guys a few moments to, wrap up, like chat, and
Yeah.
we'll see you guys downstairs.
Mhm.
And so me and the other gentleman head down to their cabin and we're talking and it's time is still kind of going on. And I'm
Mhm.
like, wow, they're taking a long time to, oh no, he doesn't realize the dynamic has changed because I've left the room. Because to him, he's in
Mhm.
bed with the same person, nothing has changed because he's newer. The dynamics about us, not
Mhm.
them. So I'm like, first of all, like, ugh, like the feeling that comes with they're having sex right now. They're
Mhm.
having sex right now. I'm not there. Oh no. Oh, this feels terrible. She's younger. She's more fit. All the stuff, like, all the stuff that I had put in a safe container to experience is now
Mhm.
raging inside me. Like the world is, and I'm trying to just be present with the conversation I'm having with this gentleman because I'm like, oh, he's totally fine with it. I'm not. I feel so alone. Oh God, like all these terrible. And
Yeah.
then they come down with the like very quickly confirming what my fear had been. I'm like, okay, we're gonna go to our room now, which is next door to theirs, of course. Shared wall, perfect. So we get into the room. I turn around to him and I go, "We're okay. I
Mhm.
am not.
Mm.
So I need a minute.
Yeah.
Um, this is why I need to just be quiet and we need to talk about it. But right now, I just want to go in the bathroom any minute. Like, we're okay. I'm not."
Mm.
And he's just immediately, he's like solutions guy, right? He's like, oh God, because of course, like the last thing he wanted to do is hurt me. He thought that was the agreement. And so he's immediately in like damage control. Let me explain. I thought it was okay because no, no, no. I know, I understand very clearly what you thought. If I thought that you thought anything else, you would be getting on a dinghy right now off this boat. This is my friend's party. Like, you'd be gone. I know where you're coming from. I understand what you thought. You were incorrect, but I understand why you thought that. I'm hurting right now. We're fine. I need
Mhm.
to feel, and he's just in this, let me, if I can explain it to you, then you won't be hurt, right? That idea that like, if it can make sense. And it's like, no, it does make sense.
Right.
And like, so I know we're going to be okay. Right now, I'm not. Right?
Yeah.
So we're trying, again, we're newer, right? So this is our first real conflict point. And so
Mhm.
we're learning each other's communication in this experience.
Mhm.
And so he's stuck in this, you're not understanding me. I'm trying to tell you, because if you can just understand, because he's coming from, I don't want to hurt you. That's not what this is supposed to be for. Let me unhurt you. And I'm going like, you can't. The thing happened. It's okay. It just isn't right now. Like,
Just
and
need
I'm
to
just
let
like, yeah, it's like we're speaking two different languages trying to, right, like meet in the middle. And I was like, I can't take care of you right now. I need to take care of me. And so it's like this really intense moment. And
Mhm.
just as intense as it was, it clicked over and around into us really trying to hear each other instead of trying to make the other person have the same experience as us.
Mhm.
So he started focusing more on trying to understand where I was coming from and learn from that. And we were able to meet in that middle actually quite efficiently, same night. Like didn't even require the next day. Like there was a split moment where like, it's when I share this part because it sounds immature, and it was for about half of a second. Where we're like
Mhm.
laying in bed and he's not hearing me, and I'm just like, I just need like care, and I need you to stop trying to solve the problem. Like it's not a solvable thing. I just need to feel. And he turns away from me And I'm like, oh my God, did you seriously just turn away from me in this moment? And he goes, we're just trying to see if the window's open. I'm like, no, you're not. I had to have that whole moment of like, you're not who I thought you were. This may be our last trip. Damn it. Like, oh, I really thought, and like in literally half a second, like he must have like heard himself and this is, then it turns back towards me. And then that's when we really were able to be like, okay, what is
Mm.
your experience right now? Where you like really trying to understand each other.
Yeah.
And that ability to hit that really uncomfortable, like, oh shit, is this not going to be a good thing? That
Mhm.
something we weren't actually ready for, or that he, isn't capable of, or whatever that is, into this, like, no, we're in this together. And that's trust. That's where you
Mhm.
build trust. Again, it's not avoiding those moments. I'm also not saying go out and like intentionally blow shit up. If he had intended
Mm.
this to cross that boundary, he didn't understand the boundary. And I didn't know to preempt that because I'm used to playing with people with more awareness and experience. But again, I got lazy. You always communicate the boundary clearly, make sure the other person hears it in the way that you understand it. So we're both,
Yeah.
we both created this experience, but that process of like hitting what felt like that bottom in the experience, really meeting each other there and then building the stairs together to get out of it, of like, okay, what did we do? What could we do differently in next time? I understand that it was about us, not about me and her. It's about you and me. And so when you were no longer, him understanding the dynamics of it unlocked
Mhm.
this like dom sub playground that I always wanted to play in, where
Oh.
I like where we just negotiate everything. It's so clear because of how we handled that. It taught
Mhm.
my nervous system that we can work through any potential rupture, anything. And we've just continued building on that. And
Mhm.
that we haven't had any remote, like, well, no, we had another much more minor, but we were at a play party and a couple had asked to play with us. But what they
Mhm.
meant was me. And I didn't know because I assumed he was involved as well. Not paying attention to where everyone is the whole time. But apparently, what ended up happening is he kind of felt like he got pushed out of the experience. And instead
Mhm.
of blowing up, we talked about it afterwards and, like, again, continued to build those building blocks where even if he may have felt excluded in that experience, now I know he let me into that experience. So
Mhm.
now we get to build on that instead of building distance between us. So
Yeah.
that level of trust has enabled us to play out any and every kind of fan. I'm like trying to set him up on dates with my friends. Like, it's like, oh, I'm
Mhm.
like, he wants to play with us. It's fun. But we get really clear. So to wrap
Yeah.
it up, so that experience happened with that couple. I'm
Mhm.
like, it's gonna take me a couple days. We're on this boat for a week, very, very close quarters with these folks.
Mhm.
I'm not going to feel like my normal social connective self for it's gonna take me a couple days. She's
Yeah.
done nothing wrong. Like it's our dynamic. We're working on it. So, communicated with them. This is what's going on. You guys are fine. You've done nothing. We need nothing from you. We're fine. Him and I
Right.
are fine. It's just going to take a couple of days of like, ugh, like, ugh.
Let's
And
metabolize.
now, yeah, but that's the reps. That was like the first power lift. God, it's the gym every time.
I
But
love
that
that.
was and it's like now my body's like, oh, okay. Oh, like we know what that feels like, and we know how we recover, and we know like, oh, we can play with this. We can how else where else can we like push on those sort of edges, edges of the comfort zone, aka boundaries. Like
Mhm.
where can we push those intentionally, clearly,
Hmm.
because now we have put the reps in. We're building that language and that safety around
Yeah. Dang, that's such a cool scenario.
it.
And
Oh
in
yeah.
the scenario, it sounds like you experienced, first of all, erotic compersion, if I'm not mistaken.
Initially, yeah, very much
And
conversion.
you were
Yeah.
sitting there with your popcorn, like just being like, God, or so
Popcorn.
hot.
The popcorn.
Yeah, exactly. Your little vibrator.
It helps.
Oh my gosh. So there was no jealousy there, correct?
No, not at all. Not initially, because I was very attracted to her. I liked her. We had a great connection too, like not physically, but like she was lovely. We are like cuddly. Like it was very yummy. Everything was positive. It switched
Mm-hmm.
into jealousy when the boundary was crossed. That was the key difference.
Non-erotic jealousy.
N- to non-erotic jealousy, and then the repair process is what unlocked the eroticism with that.
Ooh, so can you tell me about the eroticism that got unlocked by the repair process, by the process of you?
Safety.
like, yeah, like you rebuilt the safety and the trust.
Safety and empowerment. Because again, I think that is the key, is the empowerment of it, because I choose in whatever the, experience scene dynamic is. I'm essentially giving my power. It's very similar to the misunderstanding I think a lot of people have with like dom sub dynamics,
Mhm.
is like the sub is really in the power position. It's just the consensual exchange of that in whatever the scene is. But the sub knows exactly what the boundaries are, what behaviors get reward, what behaviors get punishment. Like all of that is pre-negotiated according to the desires of the sub. The dom is there to serve that. It
Yeah.
looks the other way around. So it's
Mhm.
very similar to that. It was like, because I now know you're a safe person, our relationship is a safe container where, we're both in this, we're both willing to get uncomfortable, to get to the other side of whatever the thing is. We can play with it now intentionally. And that safety and that empowerment within that safety is what allows it to be a turn on and an
Yeah.
arousal process. I think if there's real risk, like if I don't trust someone involved in the dynamic or something like that,
Yeah.
absolutely no arousal, like the opposite of arousal, a complete shutdown, no interest. It's
Mhm.
similar to, so I love play parties because I love watching, I love being watched
Mhm.
consensually. Consent is a big part of my turn on. So
Yeah.
having sex in a public place where we like could get caught in a park or in a, whatever, not a turn on at all, because the
Yeah.
person catching would be non-consensual witnessing, and that's not a turn on for me. So it's
Yeah.
that active choice, that again, empowerment to a degree.
Oh my gosh, I love that. So
Yeah.
consent, empowerment, safety can create the container for jealousy to become erotic.
Hmm. I think so. For me, yeah.
Yeah. That's beautiful. And do you have any example of a situation where you actually did create this container for erotic jealousy, for that kind of like, wow, like I'm gonna create this container for those difficult emotions to be there, but eroticize them and kind of do some transformative process around that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if we have it. I mean, yes is the short answer. We've definitely created it a few times. I'm trying to think if there's a dynamic that I think is the easiest to sort of explain. I mean, we get to play with it at play parties, like, because I think for me it's when I get to watch or I hear about something after, which we haven't done
Mhm.
as much of. We mostly played together, or at least I've been watching.
Mhm.
So for me, it'll be I think there's actually a like uncovering this now as we're talking. I'm curious if part of the healing component has to do with you know, being closeted, having my bisexuality like closeted until much, much later in life. My way
Mhm.
of dealing with it was I would befriend girls that I was interested in and attracted to. Because like if I can't pursue the other thing because that's bad, I'll be your best friend. So we can at least like, spend time together. I'm a safe person to be around. Look how safe I am. I'm completely non-sexual. And that's a really hard thing to unlearn after 30 plus years of
Mhm.
doing that. So I'm like a freaking adolescent when it comes to women in a lot of ways. And so if there's like a woman that I'm super, giddy and like can't form coherent sentences around, like at a play party or something like that, or we've met out in the wild or what have you, and I'm too chicken to like make a move, my partner's so wonderful. He's always like, no, I'll go in there. Like you tell, what do you, like, we got this. I'll set this up. I'm like, no, you go. Like go and enjoy that. And it brings up this really interesting combination of like like jealousy and the like feelings of unworthiness of like a woman who I've decided is for whatever reason outside of my league, and my partner's gonna, what does that mean? And if they're probably gonna leave me, and like all the insecurities and stories that come up in a completely safe environment. Again, she can't be a complete stranger I've never met. I've had to at least talk. So I'm like, oh, you seem like a rational like person who respects like boundaries, or you'll at least talk to us if something changes for you, or like I have to trust that somebody else can be a container for their own experience as well and will be honest with us in whatever is happening for them, including if feelings coming up, etc., what have you. Um, so all that to say, like, yeah, I kind of love if I'm like into somebody, I want like, if assuming he's also into them and that she is also into him, obviously consent all around. Um, I kind of love getting to like live vicariously through him initially, and then if I want to continue that, then I'll use that to kind of segue in to see if I get, but then one of these instances, she actually wasn't interested in me, and I was like, oh God, okay, I'm gonna need a lot of affirmation when we go home tonight. That
Right.
didn't go like the way I wanted, but that's like the beauty of the risk is I also have a lot of risk, and so I know that we can process this. I know that I'm capable of processing my part of it. I know that he's going to be there as support. I know no one's acting maliciously. Like it's all um, on the up and up. The second there's anything that I feel anyone's being deceitful to themselves or us or me about, that's when
Mhm.
it clicks. Again, it's that safety, that trust, and it's that empowerment. It's key, and I mean that for all parties, right? So if I'm worried that if there's a third party involved, if I'm worried that they don't know their own boundaries enough or their own needs enough or can't communicate that, then it won't feel as secure either because I'm not interested in hurting anyone or like this is something we're doing. We love inviting others in if they are comfortable with that, but it's not to make anyone else uncomfortable. That
Yeah.
is so key.
Hmm. That is so cool. Like the idea of vicarious enjoyment
Yes.
being applicable to both kind of erotic compersion and erotic jealousy. And when erotic compersion is in the room, it sounds like there's just no friction, there's no kind of
Yeah.
challenging emotions coming up. It's just like pure vicarious enjoyment.
Yeah.
And then when there's vicarious enjoyment in in a realm of erotic jealousy, in a way, there's also this kind of erotic, vicarious enjoyment, but there's also those kind of challenging, like frictiony, like, ooh, am I good enough?
It's in the
Like,
stomach. Yeah, it's like this knot that's just like, oh, but like it's hot, but
mm,
there's a lot more uh yeah, friction's a good word. Like it's like a push-pull
oh,
versus compersion is just flow state. Like um and I think it's understanding that it's so important to understand that jealousy is not a synonym for like bad, wrong, broken, unhealthy. It's just an emotion. It's like any other emotion and it has information. And so this allows me to get that information in as pleasant a way as possible, which it's not pleasant. Like again,
right.
jealousy is not a pleasant experience. The
Uh-huh.
eroticism of it enables maybe that's like the empowerment component where it's like I know my partner and I are in this experience together. I'm not alone in this experience. Like
Hmm.
we have created this. It's just it's safer. Yeah, I feel like I'm saying the same words over and over. That safety, that empowerment, so key. That security.
Cool, cool. I have one last question for you. Have you ever had the experience of erotic jealousy transforming into compersion, like within the same relationship or the same scene? Like, do you think there's kind of like a bridge between the two, or are these pretty much compartmentalized?
I can't speak to the erotic overlap, but I can speak to the overlap of non-erotic conversion and jealousy.
Okay.
Is
Yeah,
that
yeah. I'm
helpful?
so curious about that
Okay.
too. Yeah.
So why I no longer say it's the opposite of jealousy, because you can have them
Yeah.
at the same time.
Hmm.
Um, so let's see. So my girlfriend that I'm currently with, we had initially started dating each other about a year and a half ago, but we started dating each other at the same time as we were dating another guy together. So we all started dating each other simultaneously. There was no
Like it's fun.
couple that brought somebody in. It was a throuple, triad,
Yeah.
poly couple, whatever you want to call it. The three of us began our relationship together.
Hmm.
And I just loved them together, us all to like all of the combinations, just oh my
Hmm.
goodness, like so good, like no jealousy, just all compersion all day, like no matter
Yeah.
what, it was amazing. And it
Hmm.
was just wonderful. And then after, period of time, him and I determined that that's just we're not compatible in that way. It's not a romantic, sexual match.
Hmm.
But her and I are still dating. Her and him are still dating, but him and I are no longer dating. Totally amicable. We're on the same page. Still sucks because I'm not just I agree with him. We're not compatible. That part should probably conclude. but I missed our dynamic, right? Like that, my relationship with my girlfriend is still something I treasure, but I have to grieve that other relationship and this person, the one-on-one dynamic. So it was like that whole
Mhm,
process. You know,
mhm.
of course, I still have my girlfriend's support, respecting the boundaries of not wanting to, that's not her responsibility to carry, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. Fast forward less than a month, I think. Yeah, I don't think it had even, no, it had been like a few weeks. Good Lord. We all live in LA at this point and separately. And
Mhm.
the fires break out
Ooh.
and I have to evacuate my home. And so
Mhm.
I go to hers. And a day or two later, the fires were burning for a month in Los Angeles. It was horrific. And
Mhm.
he had to evacuate a different fire that had started and came to her place. So we're
Oh.
both at our girlfriend's place, and him and I were taking some space. Like again, amicable. We're still friends. Like no one did anything, but I was like, I just need like a minute. Like just a little space to. So
Mhm.
we're all now in the same apartment, and they're all cuddly, and her and I. And so I'm watching two people that still brings me a great deal of compersion because I care about both of them
Mhm.
and jealousy because I miss being a part of that. And I
Mhm.
had never experienced those two simultaneously, let alone in shared living situation. And I was just like, I have to go. I love you both. I can't. This is my house, fire. I'm not. Ah,
Oh my
it
gosh.
was too much. I think it might have been more manageable if, non-disaster zone stuff had been going on, but it was very in my face. And they, again, no one did anything wrong. They should be wonderful. There, this is an intense thing that's happening for all of us.
Yeah.
Timing sucks, and so I got to experience compersion and jealousy simultaneously. Absolutely no eroticism whatsoever. Yeah,
Mhm.
I'll let you know if the other one changes. I'm trying to think um, what would shift into. Yeah, I don't know. I'll report back.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes. If you have any other stories or thoughts that arise, like please do reach out because I'm
yeah,
so excited about
yeah.
this topic and so excited about everything you shared so far. It just feels like
Yeah.
gold.
It's so like I want to figure out a way, whatever I can do to support you in continuing this research and this conversation, because I think it's like this untapped, yeah, like relationship gold. It's we're avoiding one of the most transformative tools in intimacy, in my humble opinion. And I will say, I want to preface too, because we've been speaking very much about like the eroticism of this. I have now also experienced jealousy in another dynamic that was not erotic at
Mhm.
all. It actually shut down the whole scene because it was not a secure dynamic. And I had
Mhm.
no tools to deal with jealousy because I had never felt it before. So it just shut my whole nervous system shut down. And I ended the scene. It was my partner at the time and another couple. And I was just, I don't know what's happening. And like, no, I couldn't hear anymore. Tunnel vision, like shut it down. Because again, when you avoid something, you don't develop the skills and the tool set to actually learn how to use it. It makes you the tool. So
Mhm.
approaching it in a secure, safer environment, negotiating, like really being intentional about it, creating that empowered experience is completely transformative.
Right, right. And I kind of I'm seeing kind of like the graph forming in my mind. Like I'm like, okay, like there's jealousy and that, like there's this crossroad into empowered jealousy or disempowered jealousy, depending on the safety of the container. And within the empowered jealousy, then there can be erotic jealousy, or maybe not. Maybe it doesn't have to
Yeah,
be
doesn't
erotic. It
have to
can
be.
be just this kind of like psychological healing that can happen when we feel like, okay, like this jealousy has information for me and I'm not a victim of it. I'm not just at
Mm-hmm.
the mercy of this, like very, very difficult sensation and emotional state. So I feel like the eroticism can just always like enhance and make everything more fluid and more like there's kind of an alchemy to that can
Yeah,
allow us to just kind of alchemize and process and transmute things
yeah.
faster.
I
But
think
all
as long as we stay out of the idea being to to transform jealousy into compersion or something. If you want, they're different experiences. The value for me in the erotic jealousy is in the jealousy itself.
yeah.
It's not judging it. I'm not trying to get comfortable. I'm in the experience.
Yeah.
The pit of my stomach, the whole thing, that is the emotional experience of it. So I'm not trying to turn jealousy into joy,
Yeah.
or I'm in the jealousy, and that choice enables eroticism. Does that make sense? That
Absolutely.
differentiation is important.
Yes, 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 yes. Thank you for saying that. That is so important because I feel like I hear that phrase sometimes like turning jealousy into compersion or into joy. And it's not how it
You
works.
don't you don't need to, I guess, depending on where it's coming from. Maybe there's elements that you can if you want to, but it still frames jealousy as wrong, bad, compersion as good, evolved. Mm-mm.
Right.
Get rid of it.
Yeah.
Like you,
It's more about kind of, dismantling the disempowerment around
yeah,
jealousy and actually creating like safety and reclamation around
yeah,
jealousy. That's
yeah.
cathartic.
Just an emotion. It's no
Yeah.
better or worse or healthy or un. It's not healthy or unhealthy. What you do with it, your behavior around it, how you engage with it is healthy or unhealthy, I would
Oh my gosh. Wow. Thank you so
say.
much. I feel like on that note, we can say
Yeah.
goodbye and thank
Thank
you
you.
so
Thank you.
much.
It
This
was my
was so
pleasure.
illuminating, and I'm just so in awe and in appreciation of your wisdom and willingness to share everything with me.
Thank you for asking. I'm delighted to be able to start talking about it. It's wonderful.
Amazing. Thank you.